and waving their arms in the air. So it's actually been a lot of fun to be on this flight. People are very excited and just having a good old time.
Anne, was there any question at all about whether you would be taking off this morning because of the weather conditions, whether you would in fact make it in as the first flight?
There was no question at all. We were a little bit late in leaving, I would say about 10 minutes late, and that seems to be primarily because people were having so much fun waiting at the gate and drinking coffee and eating goodies and just talking. They were just so excited that it was taking a while to get people moved onto the plane. The other thing that they did was they had all the people on this historic flight sign some United Airlines T-shirts, so that was a whole other process to begin with. And then once we got on the flight with all the cameras and media people around, people just weren't sitting down and being very orderly, so it took us a while to get off the ground. We also had to go through some de-icing procedures as well, but as we left Colorado Springs, there was a light mist, but nothing bad. No problems at all here weather-wise.
So, Ann, I guess the question is, where are you right now?
Well, that's a very good question, because as I look out the window, and I'm right over the wing, it's cloudy and it's dark, so I don't see any lights yet, so who knows where we are right now, Ernie? I'm waiting to find that out myself.
I bet in a few minutes they'll swoop down and you'll be able to see this beautiful roof of Denver International.
Absolutely. Well, we can't wait. It's a rowdy crowd, and everyone's very excited to get there. And it's kind of funny because a lot of people here are trying to accomplish their own firsts. We have a woman here who is 4 months pregnant, so she's kind of excited to be able to say to her baby someday that he or she was on this flight. There's another woman who waited to be the very last person on the flight. That was her own personal feat. And then, of course, Ray Jefferson is on this flight. There's travel agents from all around Colorado, and there's a whole wide group of people here.
Well, that's wonderful. All right, Ann, it sounds though that here we have a live shot from the control tower, so we may be able to catch a glimpse of you. But once you're in the terminal, it appears that we may hear you before we see you if people are that excited.
Oh,
but we look forward to seeing you here on the ground, Ann. All right, thank you.
All right, Ann, thanks very much.
Once again, the first flight out of DIA, that is out of DIA, is scheduled to leave in just a few minutes.
So let's check in with Bill Clark, who is standing by at the United Gate with lots more. Bill?
Already out on the B concourse, and we've had a slight delay here. That's not unusual for airports when the weather's inclement, but I think a lot of it is due to the ceremony and all of the celebration going on, and the fact that they just closed off the door at gate B36 or B38, where this flight is departing from to Kansas City. It's a full house. They've got everybody on board, and of course all the photographers had to go out and get their pictures of the departing, all of these departing VIPs who are headed off to Kansas City. If you take a look out behind me, you'll see that that jet. Just a few moments ago, they were de-icing the engines. Now, of course, we've made a big deal about the de-icing stations here at DIA on the way out to the runways. But what nobody anticipated is that these jets that were parked here overnight might have to have their engines de-iced as well. As you can see, they've pulled away the jetway. They're now getting ready to push off. Let the record show it is exactly 6 a.m. This was a flight scheduled to depart at 6 o'clock. So the United Airlines folks and the people here at DIA, needless to say, are very happy about that. I must tell you that if Ann can see the terminal building as she's on the approach into Denver International, she's going to have pretty good eyes. Even from here in the B concourse, it's very difficult to make the outline of that great tent off in the distance, Ernie, where you and Bertha are located.
Bill, quick question for you.
Yeah.
Who are these dignitaries, these people on that first flight? Are they executives for the airline?
You have some people who are retired United Airlines employees, some other people who actually have business, who are really paying customers. There are some executives of the airline on board, and some people, quite frankly, who wanted to be a part of history, who wanted to be a piece of it today, and who booked their passage as soon as they knew what the first flight out was going to be. There were some standby passengers, and I'm guessing, but I think it's a fair guess to say, Bertha, that there were no empty seats on board.
And Bill, as you are wrapping it up, we want to tell you that we have a live picture now of that first flight landing from Colorado Springs, as seen from the control tower.
Yeah. What a sight it is.
The control tower is quite amazing. Bertha and I were up there last week. It's more than 30 stories tall, And it was a clear day when we were up there, and as the song says, you can see forever.
You can see down to Pikes Peak, where that flight originated.
All right, well, still ahead, the first flight with Ed Trujillo just arrived, as you just saw.
And Mayor Webb will be joining us shortly as our DIA coverage continues, so stay right where you are.
From Denver International Airport to carry revenue-paying passengers, Transportation Secretary Federico Pena up in the DIA control tower. He will give the ceremonial clearing of that plane to take off from runway 34 and begin its flight to Kansas City. And we will be awaiting the arrival of flight 1474. That's the first arriving flight into DIA. That'll be coming in here in just a few minutes at the gate immediately to my right. I talked to Patty Schwartzberg, who's the Denver manager of revenue, one of the financial people behind this whole airport, one of the people who's really making sure that there's enough money to pay all the bills. And believe me, I have not seen such a relieved smile on her face in a very long time, given all the financial problems at this airport. There goes the flight to Kansas City, 1062. We'll be waiting for the arrival of the plane from Colorado Springs, and we'll rejoin you shortly. Katie?
Let's clear something up. Some folks here got really excited. Flight 1474 has not touched down yet, has it? That was a plane taxiing, correct?
The plane here is the departing plane, Katie. This is the one going to Kansas City. The flight from Colorado Springs, we are told here at the gate, is going to be coming in about 9 minutes late, which means it'll be in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you. Suzanne McCarroll joins us live on 4. She's on board that flight from Colorado Springs this morning.
Suzanne, how are things going, I guess?
Well, actually, we are just moments away. We can all see the city. We're still looking for DIA. It's fairly dark, as you know, so it's hard to see too much, but the landing gear is down. So we're assuming we're moments away from touching down.
Well, Suzanne, as we're talking to you, we're actually seeing a plane taxi as it leaves, heading out to Kansas City. But Suzanne, what else is going on? I mean, what's the atmosphere on the plane as everyone is trying to get ready to come in? I mean, is everybody staring out the windows, staring down, looking for it?
Well, do you remember your days on a high school cheerleading bus? That's a lot like this plane. It is absolutely packed, and anything that happens, the landing gear comes down, everybody cheers. When the pilot announced that we were just moments away, everybody cheered. When we took off, everybody cheered. I feel like I'm back in high school on a big game bus going to a big basketball championship or something.
Well, Suzanne, don't be knocking anyone down to try to be the first person to get off of the plane, okay?
I'm going to vault over them. I'll be the one leaping above them.
Cargo flight, but this looks to be Ward's plane. Ward, are you still with us?
Yeah, we're pulling in right now. I don't see the terminal yet, but it sure looks like an airport to me. We're just a couple hundred feet up. And yeah, the airport is up ahead, and we are coming down right now. We're about 20 feet up, and we should touch down right about, you ready, folks? You ready for this?
Ready.
Right about,
Yep.
a cheer is going to go up. You're going to hear it. Right about now. Listen to the cheer.
And there you are. Yes, indeed. We've got you now, and we've got a good picture of you as you
I told you
you
it's a
taxi
wild
in.
flight, folks. This is great. And we are here. We have landed at Denver International Airport, and there is the terminal. Boy, it is beautiful from where we are. The people on this flight are excited. That is a gorgeous airport as you come in from the runway. I'm glad I got to see the first look.
Want you to know, Ward, they're very excited in the control tower as well. And we're mixing pictures here. This is a live picture of the first passenger flight to arrive at Denver International Airport. And we also have a picture of the control tower. There you see
Shaking hands,
Secretary Pena shaking hands with the controllers this morning, who are about to get extremely busy, given the low ceiling around the airport and all the flights that are about to be arriving and taking off. United Airlines alone has a schedule of 281 flights today, just to give you some idea. United, of course, the largest carrier at the airport, but this their first flight at their hub airport. Ward, do I have right approximately 118 people on board that flight?
Yeah, that's correct. I've got to tell you, this is really an impressive sight. I see the terminal off to my left as we're pulling in. People are incredibly excited. This is a gorgeous airport. It's lit up. Every single possible light is illuminated. And this is going to impress travelers coming to Colorado. I hate to sound too much like a cheerleader, but all the problems at DIA aside, this is going to impress travelers when they first pull in and see Denver International Airport spread out in front of them.
What time did you leave this morning, Ward? What time did this flight leave the Springs?
We left the ground at about 20 minutes before 6 o'clock. So the flight has taken about half an hour.
Okay. It may take you as long to get to your gate.
That could be, because
Yes.
we're still looking at that terminal off in the distance. So we do have a ways to get in, but I see another plane taxiing toward us. It looks like somebody either leaving or perhaps it's even a cargo plane. But this is spectacular.
Well, it does look beautiful out there, Ward. We're going to go out to Adele now, who's waiting for you at your gate. And Adele, what's the mood out there? Have folks realized that the first flight has landed?
I don't think so. However, the excitement is building, and all the people in charge of the
Gate, shall we keep it here, or do you want to come back to us in a couple of minutes? All right, we'll keep going and see if we can visit with any of the other folks. Let me ask.
I think it's probably, as an edifice, the most beautiful airport in the world.
What really struck you the most? I mean, really, when you walk in, I think one thing that strikes me is seeing the big tents. That's what I like to call
Two things. One is the tent.
Uh-huh.
The second is the floors. Man, those are really nice floors. They're
So it's, in your mind,
like
it's
to have
really...
those floors in my bathroom.
That would be nice, but they're very slippery, though. You have to wear tennis
Well,
shoes.
I know, but it's an imposing structure. And the tent feature is an absolute eye catcher. You know, it's memorable, and that's what architecture is supposed to do. I think we're all bruised about the delay, but we're happy it's happened. And you know, it's kind of like you started to create something and you had some glitches in it. You got through the...
It's gone into making DIA what it is. And we are still awaiting the arrival here of the United plane. I'll tell you what, we're going to come back here when the plane does finally get to the gate and people come out. For now, let's go back to Katie and Philip in the terminal.
Mike, that was a quick flight, about a 25-minute flight from Colorado Springs this morning. Sit on the runway to undergo de-icing and so forth. But Suzanne McCarroll is on board that flight. She said people were really tense, very excited. Of course, we'll be talking to Suzanne as she gets off the plane on Concourse B.
Well, as we watch the plane continue to taxi, one of the interesting things about this airport that they've been able to show off today, really, with this landing, is the state-of-the-art equipment. I mean, the tower that is pulling planes in and guiding them in, and you saw Federico Pena earlier send off the first flight, but it's 33 stories high, and the reason it has to be so high is so that they can see the entire runway. Well, in bad weather days like today, and the visibility is a little poorer, you can't see the entire runway. They have very state-of-the-art ground radar, which allows them to take planes in and out, and they're getting to show off exactly how good all of this is because of the bad weather.
Yes, the folks in the Incident Command Center are very happy, actually, that we have snow and some difficult weather conditions as far as visibility is concerned, because it shows to the national media that DIA can operate under these conditions. You're looking at the first departing flight going to Kansas City, flight 1062.
You know, one of the things I saw is, now I'm just guessing, but there were people walking through DIA, and this is the arriving flight, but I'll tell you a quick story about people walking through DIA, getting ready to board that flight to Kansas City. Some of them wearing shorts and hula shirts. I don't know where they were leaving, but Kansas City must be much warmer than it is. Now, as we mentioned, this is the arriving flight. We just saw the first flight out. So we're trying to keep everything together, and as we mentioned, thankfully those in the tower have the ground radar to be watching this as well.
Federico Pena, former Denver mayor and transportation secretary, helped ferry this flight out, this 1062 to Kansas City that you're seeing now departing, the first departure from DIA. Now, flight 1474 from Colorado Springs is now entering its gate, United Concourse B. Let's go to Mike Fearberg, who's standing by live. Mike?
Thanks very much, Katie. You are seeing the preparations for the ceremony here. These folks have this United Airlines banner here. This will be the kind of the ceremonial christening, if you will, of the uh-oh. Don't know what that buzz meant. I assume it meant that the plane is arriving. I've never heard anything quite like that before. But in any event, they're getting ready for the ceremonial ribbon.
There's a lot of mass confusion out here, too. All the press is gathered around, a lot of popping flash bulbs, if you will. There's a whole rack, a three-tiered stand of cameras, and it's a whole throng of people you can't even hardly see. It's a whole crush of people that are standing around here waiting for the first flight. I'll talk with you. You work for United Airlines, do you not? Now, why are you here? Are you just here for the occasion?
I've been here since 9 p.m. So
last night?
Yes, we did the cleanup and the sweep and the unloading of packs.
You bet.
Is now taxiing out to the end of the runway where it will be taking off shortly. And meanwhile, the flight from Colorado Springs has arrived. They have had the brief flag waving ceremonies outside, and there's certainly a lot of anticipation here. Not to mention I don't think I can count the number of media crews who are standing by alongside me, ready to photograph the first person to come off this plane. But there's also, I'd say several hundred people, just ordinary citizens of the metro area who've come out here to see this event, because this is history. After all of the arguing and all of the bickering and the voting and the sniping at this airport, we're going to have to live with it. Unfortunately, we cannot show you the plane actually coming into the gate because it's on the far side of the gate from where the media have been assembled. But I can see underneath that the plane has indeed arrived, and I believe we'll be getting people coming off here very shortly. At this point, Governor Romer. Yeah, Governor Romer and Steve Steers of United Airlines and a couple of FAA people are getting ready to do this and tie their ribbon. I guess what we'll do is toss it back to Katie and Phil for just a quick minute or two, and we'll take it back as soon as the people start coming off the plane, including, I assume, Suzanne McCarroll.
Yeah. Now we're looking at the first flight out.
I need you to move a little bit further.
This is from Copter 4 this morning at 6:15 as Flight 1062 heads for Kansas City. You know, these folks will be the first to use the automated baggage system for departing flights, that underground, much maligned baggage system. So many folks hoping that it works well, perfectly today. But does anything go perfect on the first day of operations anywhere, for that matter?
Well, as you mentioned, we're watching this as they get ready to head the first flight out from Copter 4. So let's go to Luann Aiken, who is in Copter 4 watching an historic first flight out of DIA. Luann?
What you're seeing is a flight headed, getting ready to take off eastbound out of DIA. As you say, it's the first flight out headed toward Kansas City. Fairly momentous occasion. We understand from Suzanne McCarroll that there was a whole lot of media on board and what she called a few legitimate passengers. We've seen a lot of activity on the runways out here with snowplows clearing the 2 to 3 inches of snow and very wind-swept snow that we have out here this morning. This runway very clear. The visibility not the greatest, but certainly well within the capabilities of this aircraft to take off. We have diffused light just getting ready to take over the skies here, so you can see fairly well. Again, this is a flight headed toward Kansas City. That would be the first flight out of Denver International Airport. And trying to listen in on the tower. They are just awaiting their final orders to roll out here. Philip, Katie, it's a very exciting moment.
Runway heading clear for takeoff. Runway 8, United 1062.
Still awaiting that final word to roll.
They're rolling.
And they are on takeoff roll, headed eastbound on the northernmost runway here at DIA.
Tower DHL 420 ready, 135 left.
Not a whole lot of activity out here this morning, but clearly the dignitaries were here for this historic first flight out of Denver International Airport. Wheels are up. The plane is off. Philip, Katie, back to you.
35 left, taxi into position and hold.
Thank you. Luann.
Position and hold, 35 left, DHL 420.
First departure out of DIA on this, the opening day of Denver International Airport.